The hubris of the stellar empire. The great hall of the Nexian imperial palace gleamed with crystalline splendor, its floating platforms carrying the most powerful beings in known space. Supreme Archon Vexthor stood at the highest platform, his iridescent scales shifting colors as he addressed the gathered elite of the Nexian Empire. Behind him, a holographic display showed their latest conquest, a spiral galaxy they had just discovered. Behold, Vexthor's voice resonated through the chamber, another primitive realm ripe for enlightenment under our guidance. In the outer spiral arm, we found a species calling themselves humans. They still rely on chemical propulsion and have barely touched their own solar system. Laughter rippled through the assembly. Grand Admiral Kroll, her tentacles writhing with amusement, spoke up. Supreme Archon, surely you jest. Chemical propulsion. They're practically still playing with rocks. The Supreme Archon's facial ridges lifted in what passed for a smile among his kind. Indeed, Grand Admiral, their most advanced weapons use projectiles and crude nuclear devices. They haven't even discovered quantum manipulation or gravity control. The assembled dignitaries erupted in fresh peals of laughter, their various appendages twitching with mirth. A holographic display materialized in the center of the chamber, showing Earth's primitive orbital stations and early model spacecraft. Science Director Zinra slithered forward, her crystalline body refracting light across the chamber. Most fascinating, Supreme Archon. Their attempts at space travel are almost endearing, like watching infant Kareth taking their first steps. They still think radio waves are an advanced form of communication. Another official chimed in, triggering more laughter. But in the shadows of the Great Hall, hidden behind a pillar of living crystal, something watched. Lieutenant Sarah Chen of Earth's Deep Space Intelligence Division remained perfectly still, her quantum camouflage suit rendering her invisible to even the Nexians' advanced sensors. Her augmented eyes recorded everything, transmitting data through subspace channels the aliens hadn't even theorized possible. Vexthor raised his primary limb for silence. While these humans are primitive, they are surprisingly resourceful. Their population growth and technological development rates are concerning. The Council recommends immediate intervention before they become a potential nuisance. Surely you overestimate them. Supreme Archon, Kroll interjected. Their entire fleet couldn't scratch the paint on one of our corvettes. Nevertheless, Vexthor continued, we shall proceed with standard protocol. A small task force will demonstrate our power, forcing their surrender and integration into the Empire. No need to waste significant resources on such an insignificant species. As the Nexians continued their strategic discussion, Lieutenant Chen's neural implants processed and analyzed every word, every gesture. Her lips curved into a slight smile. The Nexians' arrogance was exactly what Earth's military leadership had been counting on. 6 months earlier, when Earth's long-range sensors first detected the Nexian survey ships at the edge of the solar system, humanity had made a crucial decision. Rather than reveal their true capabilities, they maintained a carefully crafted facade of technological backwardness. The primitive satellites and chemical rockets were a masterful deception, hiding the true extent of human advancement. Deep beneath the surface of Mars, in sprawling underground facilities, humanity's real fleet was waiting. Ships that didn't rely on simple propulsion, but on technologies the Nexians couldn't even detect. Weapons that didn't fire crude projectiles, but harnessed the fundamental forces of the universe itself. Lieutenant Chen's neural link pulsed with an incoming transmission. Intel received and confirmed, came the encrypted message from Earth Command. Operation Shadowfall is greenlit. Maintain position and continue observation. The humans had learned long ago that the greatest advantage in any conflict was being underestimated by your opponent. As the Nexians laughed and planned their simple conquest, they had no idea they were walking into humanity's most elaborate trap. Supreme Archon Vexthor raised his ceremonial staff, its crystal head pulsing with energy. Let it be recorded that on this day the Nexian Empire has claimed yet another primitive world for enlightenment. Send the task force. Show these humans the futility of resistance. Lieutenant Chen had heard enough. As the assembly began to disperse, she activated her quantum extraction beacon. In a moment, she would be back aboard the HMS Umbra, humanity's most advanced stealth vessel, hidden in plain sight just outside the Nexian capital's defense grid. The Nexians believed themselves invincible, masters of the most advanced civilization in known space. They were about to learn a harsh lesson about the danger of underestimating humanity. The trap was set, and the hunters were about to become the hunted. On Earth, in the depths of the Planetary Defense Command, General Maria Santos reviewed Lieutenant Chen's transmission. She turned to the assembled military leadership, her expression grim but determined. They took the bait. Commence Phase 2 of Operation Shadowfall. Throughout the solar system, hidden facilities hummed to life. The real war was about to begin, and the Nexian Empire had no idea what was coming. Project Nightshade. Deep beneath the Martian surface, in a facility that officially didn't exist, Dr. Yuki Tanaka stood before a wall of quantum displays, reviewing the final diagnostics of humanity's greatest technological achievement. The HMS Umbra floated in the massive underground dock, its hull seeming to bend light itself around its surface. Neural interface synchronization at optimal levels, reported Captain Diana West, her cybernetic implants glowing softly as she merged with the ship's systems. Quantum field generators are stable. Dark energy matrix is nominal. The vessel before them represented 20 years of secret development, combining technologies that humanity had kept hidden from prying eyes. While the world above maintained a carefully crafted image of primitive spaceflight and basic weaponry, Project Nightshade had pushed the boundaries of what was thought possible. Dr. Tanaka's augmented vision highlighted various systems as she conducted her final review. The Nexians pride themselves on their mastery of quantum mechanics, she said, addressing the assembled crew. But they've barely scratched the surface. They manipulate quantum states. We've learned to rewrite them. The HMS Umbra wasn't just a stealth ship, it was a revolution in physics itself. Its hull incorporated metamaterials that could actively manipulate fundamental forces, while its quantum core could alter the very fabric of space-time around it. The vessel didn't need to hide from sensors. It simply convinced reality that it wasn't there. General Santos materialized via quantum projection, her form solidifying next to Dr. Tanaka. Lieutenant Chen's intelligence confirms our theories. The Nexians are preparing a small task force to demonstrate their power. Their arrogance is our perfect opportunity. The Umbra is ready, Captain West confirmed, her cybernetic eyes scanning the assembled data. All systems are operating beyond projected parameters. The quantum mimicry systems can perfectly replicate Nexian energy signatures. They'll never know we're not one of their own ships until it's too late. Dr. Tanaka nodded, pulling up a holographic display of the Nexian capital's defense systems. Their entire civilization is built on quantum technology, but they've become complacent. They believe they've mastered it, so they never look for alternative approaches. Our dark energy manipulators operate on principles they haven't even theorized. The true genius of Project Nightshade wasn't just its advanced technology. It was its fundamental understanding of how to exploit the Nexians' technological blind spots. Every system aboard the Umbra was designed not just to evade detection, but to actively play into the aliens' preconceptions and arrogance. Begin final launch preparations, General Santos commanded. The Nexian task force departs in 6 hours. The Umbra needs to be in position before they reach our solar system. Captain West merged more deeply with the ship's systems, feeling the quantum core pulse in harmony with her enhanced consciousness. All hands to stations. Prepare for quantum fold initiation. As the crew took their positions, Dr. Tanaka made one final systems check. The Umbra's technology was generations beyond what the Nexians believed possible. While they relied on brute force quantum manipulation, humanity had developed subtle ways to weave through the fabric of reality itself. The massive underground dock began to evacuate its atmosphere. Above, the Martian surface slowly parted, revealing a hidden launch tunnel that would allow the Umbra to emerge without any visible signs of its departure. To any observers, it would appear to be nothing more than a minor seismic event. Remember, General Santos addressed the crew. The success of Operation Shadowfall depends on maintaining our deception until the perfect moment. The Nexians believe they're dealing with a primitive species that can barely reach its own moon. By the time they realize the truth, it will be far too late. The HMS Umbra's quantum core hummed to life, dark energy fields wrapping around its hull like liquid shadow. Captain West's consciousness expanded through the ship's neural network, becoming one with the vessel's advanced systems. In moments, they would make history, not that the galaxy would ever know the full story. "Quantum fold drives online," reported the engineering officer. "Dark energy matrix at full capacity. Shadow protocols engage." Dr. Tanaka watched as her life's work prepared for its first real combat mission. The Umbra represented humanity's greatest achievement, and not a single soul outside this facility knew it existed. That was about to change, though the Nexians wouldn't live long enough to appreciate the significance of what they were about to witness. The silent strike. The Nexian task force emerged from quantum space at the edge of the Sol system, their crystalline ships glowing with power. Commander Ixel stood on the bridge of the flagship Eternal Dawn, his secondary eyes scanning the primitive human detection systems with amusement. "As expected, their sensors are barely registering our presence," he reported to his bridge crew. "They're still using electromagnetic radiation for detection." How quaint. But in the void between Jupiter and Saturn, the HMS Umbra waited. Captain West's consciousness flowed through the ship's neural network, feeling every quantum fluctuation in space around them. The Nexian ships were broadcasting their presence like beacons to the Umbra's advanced sensors. 5 capital ships, 12 support vessels, West reported through the neural link. Their quantum shields are operating at minimal power. They're not even trying to hide their approach. Lieutenant Chen, now at her station on the Umbra's bridge, analyzed the Nexian formation. "Their arrogance is even worse than we anticipated. They're moving in a ceremonial pattern rather than a tactical one. They expect this to be a demonstration, not a battle." The Nexian fleet moved deeper into the solar system, their sensors sweeping space with quantum pulses that would have detected any normal ship or weapon. But the Umbra didn't rely on normal physics. Its dark energy field bent reality around it, making it less like a hidden object and more like a temporary hole in existence. Commander Ixel's voice boomed across human communication channels. "Attention primitive species of Sol 3. This is Commander Ixel of the Nexian Empire. Your world has been chosen for enlightenment under our benevolent rule. Surrender now and prepare for integration into our glorious civilization." Captain West allowed herself a small smile. "All systems are ready. Dark energy matrix at full combat capacity. Quantum mimicry engaged." The Umbra began to move, its advanced drives creating no detectable disturbance in space. It slipped between the Nexian vessels like a shadow, its presence masked by carefully crafted quantum signatures that matched the Nexians' own energy patterns. Their quantum shields are calibrated to detect and deflect direct energy attacks, Dr. Tanaka observed from her station. "They have no defense against what we're about to do." The Umbra took position directly above the Eternal Dawn. To the Nexian sensors, it was nothing more than a slight quantum echo, indistinguishable from their own ship's emissions. "Preparing to initiate dark energy cascade," West announced. "All hands brace for temporal distortion." The Umbra's quantum core pulsed, and reality shuddered. Instead of attacking the Nexian shields directly, the ship created a localized distortion in space-time itself. The laws of physics briefly rewrote themselves around the Eternal Dawn. Commander Ixel had a moment to register that something was wrong as his ship's crystalline structure began to resonate at impossible frequencies. "What's happening? Where is this interference coming from?" The Eternal Dawn's quantum shields, designed to deflect energy attacks, were useless against an assault on the fundamental forces holding their ship together. The crystalline hull vibrated, then shattered like glass, the pieces dissolving into quantum foam as space-time itself rejected their existence. By the eternal void, one of the Nexian officers gasped. "That's impossible." Nothing could. Before they could react, the Umbra was moving again, sliding through space like liquid darkness. Two more Nexian ships fell to the same fate, their advanced technology rendered meaningless by humanity's manipulation of reality itself. The remaining Nexian vessels began to panic, their ceremonial formation breaking apart as they tried to identify their attacker. Their sensors, scanning for traditional energy signatures and quantum fluctuations, found nothing but echoes and shadows. "This can't be happening," Commander Ixel transmitted from an escape pod. "These primitives can't even manipulate quantum fields. They're still using chemical rockets." Captain West's voice cut through their communications, cold and clear. "Commander Ixel, this is the HMS Umbra. Consider this humanity's response to your offer of enlightenment." The Umbra decloaked for a brief moment, revealing its true form, a ship that seemed to be made of solid darkness, its hull defying the normal rules of light and physics. The sight sent waves of terror through the surviving Nexian crews. Empire's fall. Supreme Archon Vexthor stared at the quantum projection in disbelief as the last fragments of the Eternal Dawn dissolved into nothingness. The great hall of the Imperial Palace, so recently filled with laughter and mockery, had fallen deathly silent. "Impossible," he whispered, his scales shifting to the pale color of fear. "Show me the battle data again." But the data only confirmed the horrifying truth. A single ship, using technology that defied their understanding of physics, had decimated their task force. The few survivors babbled about shadows that ate ships, about reality itself turning against them. Grand Admiral Kroll's tentacles writhed in agitation. "The humans, they deceived us. Those primitive ships, the chemical rockets, it was all a deception. A deception we eagerly believed," Science Director Zinra added, her crystalline form dimming with shame. "We were so convinced of our superiority that we never questioned why a species capable of detecting our survey ships would still be using such primitive technology." The quantum sensors throughout Nexian space suddenly pulsed with alerts. Ships were disappearing from quantum space lanes, vanishing without warning or trace. The Empire's carefully maintained network of quantum communications began to fragment as relay stations went dark. In the command center beneath the palace, tactical displays showed a pattern of destruction spreading like a virus through Nexian territory. But the attackers remained invisible, striking without warning and vanishing before any defense could be mounted. Multiple contacts lost in the crystalline sector. A tactical officer reported, their voice shaking. "The Third Fleet reports. By the void, the Third Fleet is just gone." The HMS Umbra was no longer alone. During the decades of preparation, humanity had built more than one ship. While the Nexians had focused their attention on Earth's visible space program, dozens of dark energy vessels had been stationed throughout their empire, waiting for the signal. Captain West's voice echoed through every quantum communication channel in Nexian space. "Attention, Nexian Empire. Your task force's destruction was not a fluke or a lucky strike. Even now, humanity's ships are dismantling your empire piece by piece. Your belief in your own superiority blinded you to the truth. You are not the masters of quantum physics you believe yourselves to be. You are children playing with forces you barely understand." Supreme Archon Vexthor watched helplessly as another sector went dark. The greatest empire in known space was being systematically dismantled by a species they had dismissed as primitive barely days ago. "Launch everything we have," he commanded, his voice cracking with desperation. "Every ship, every weapon. They cannot be everywhere at once." But they were. Humanity's vessels slipped between the dimensions of quantum space, striking simultaneously across thousands of light years. The Nexians' quantum shields, designed to defend against direct energy attacks, were useless against weapons that altered the fundamental forces of reality. In the space of 6 hours, the Nexian Empire lost 80% of its military capacity. Their quantum communication network was in shambles, their defense grids had been shattered, and their supposedly invincible fleets had been reduced to scattered survivors running for their lives. "Your empire is finished," Captain West's transmission continued. "Your power was built on the assumption that you were the most advanced civilization in existence. That assumption was false. The humans you dismissed as primitive have been watching, learning, and advancing while you stagnated in your perceived superiority." In the Imperial Palace, Supreme Archon Vexthor received a direct quantum transmission. The hologram that appeared before him showed General Santos, her expression cold and unforgiving. "Supreme Archon," she said, her voice carrying the weight of humanity's judgment, "your empire's policy of enlightening other species ends today. We could have shared our advancements, could have been allies. Instead, your arrogance and cruelty forced our hand." Dawn of a new era. 1 month after the fall of the Nexian Empire, representatives from 100 species gathered in Earth's orbital diplomatic station. The crystalline architecture, a deliberate echo of Nexian style, served as a reminder of how quickly power could shift in the galaxy. Dr. Tanaka stood at a viewing window, watching the HMS Umbra patrol silently through the void. The ship that had helped reshape the galaxy had become a symbol of both hope and warning to the assembled species. "The quantum mechanics we showed the galaxy were just the beginning," she explained to the gathered ambassadors. "Humanity has developed technologies in dozens of different directions. We chose not to reveal them because we saw how the Nexians' technological superiority led to their moral decay." The alien representatives, many of them former subjects of the Nexian Empire, listened with a mixture of awe and apprehension. They had witnessed how quickly humanity had dismantled the most powerful empire in known space. General Santos took the central podium, her presence commanding attention. "Earth does not seek to replace the Nexian Empire. We have seen how absolute power corrupts, how technological superiority can lead to arrogance and cruelty. Instead, we propose a new form of galactic cooperation." The quantum displays activated, showing plans for shared research initiatives, technological exchange programs, and mutual defense pacts. Humanity was offering to share its advancements, but with safeguards and responsibilities attached. "The dark energy technology that powers our ships will be shared with species that demonstrate ethical use of their existing capabilities," Captain West explained. "Our goal is advancement through cooperation, not dominance through force." Former Supreme Archon Vexthor, now serving as a simple representative of his diminished people, spoke up. "You could have destroyed us completely. Why didn't you?" Lieutenant Chen, standing beside Dr. Tanaka, answered, "Because that would have made us no better than the empire we defeated. Humanity's strength lies not just in our technology, but in our ability to learn from history's mistakes." The new galactic cooperative took shape over the following months. Species that had once lived in fear of Nexian enlightenment now worked alongside humans and reformed Nexians, combining their unique perspectives and technologies. The HMS Umbra and its sister ships remained vigilant, patrolling the stars not as conquerors, but as guardians of the new peace. Their very existence served as a reminder that technological advancement without wisdom was a path to destruction. Dr. Tanaka's team began the careful process of sharing humanity's developments with other species. The quantum mimicry technology that had allowed the Umbra to hide among Nexian ships became the foundation for new advances in communication and understanding between different species. The Nexians believed they had mastered the fundamental forces of the universe. Dr. Tanaka reflected, watching alien scientists work alongside human researchers. Their mistake was thinking that mastery meant they had nothing left to learn. Captain West, her consciousness linked with the Umbra systems, monitored the growing network of cooperation spreading through the galaxy. "We hid our true capabilities for decades, watching and learning. Now we can finally use them to build something greater than an empire." The gathered species learned that humanity's deception had gone far deeper than the Nexians had imagined. Earth's apparent primitive state had been a carefully crafted illusion, maintained while humans pushed the boundaries of science in secret. The chemical rockets and basic satellites had been props in an elaborate strategy of misdirection. As the last of the diplomatic sessions concluded, General Santos stood with her alien counterparts, watching ships of various species departing Earth's orbit. The galaxy believed humanity was primitive because we chose to appear so. Our greatest strength was not in our technology, but in our patience and understanding of when to reveal it. The HMS Umbra passed overhead, its dark energy field rippling subtly against the starlight. It was no longer just a weapon of war, but a symbol of transformation, a reminder that true power lay not in technological superiority, but in the wisdom to use it justly. In the decades that followed, the galaxy would remember the fall of the Nexian Empire not just as the end of one civilization's dominance, but as the beginning of a new era of cooperation and shared advancement. Humanity had proven that the most dangerous species was not necessarily the one with the biggest weapons or the most advanced technology, but the one wise enough to hide its strength until the right moment. The stars themselves seemed brighter in this new age, as species that had once feared each other's differences learned to celebrate them instead. And in the shadows between those stars, humanity's dark energy ships continued their vigilant watch, ensuring that never again would any species believe itself truly invincible.